Well, hey there, and welcome to Wedding Wednesday. I'm Amy from Unmistakably You, and I'm here as always on Wednesday at 8 p.m. to talk to you about all the stuff you might be experiencing in your wedding planning. So here's the deal. I need you to help me out here because I sit here every Wednesday and I kind of hear crickets. So I need you to do a couple of things for me. One, if you find anything helpful that I say, please comment. Please answer a question. Please ask a question. We're here to help. If you like what we're talking about and you want more, go over to YouTube and subscribe to our channel because all of our archived videos are over there and there are a bajillion of them. We've been doing this live once a week for like 4 years. So do the math. I don't know what that is. 4 times how many weeks in a year? 52? I don't know. That's a heck of a lot of videos. So head on over there and you can search topics that you may find helpful that you're dealing with in your planning right now. Or you know what? If you can't find the answer to a question, ask a question. We are more than happy to always have some additional thoughts and questions and concerns coming in because we want to be relevant to you and what you're dealing with in your wedding planning. Now, today we thought we would maybe talk about how to embrace the non-traditional on your wedding day. If you are a non-traditional couple, props to you. I love it. I am here for you all day long. I want you to be able to have a wedding that is reflective of yourselves and your personalities, and I want it to be all about you. Now, here's the thing. I'm also not completely delusional. I know that there are all kinds of other factors that play into your planning. I know that maybe there are other people who are footing the bill. I know that there are other people who have strong opinions. Maybe there are people who are trying to live vicariously through you and have the wedding that maybe they didn't have when they got married. And if that's the case, I'm really sorry. But I know that I can't just say, blanket statement, you do you, it's your wedding, screw everybody else, because you know what, that's really not realistic. And I'm so very sorry because I would love to say that. I am very famous for saying there are no wedding police, and it's very true. There are no wedding police, but sometimes there's an opinionated mother-in-law, or there's a father who's footing the bill and really feels like certain things are important, or there's a maid of honor who really wants you to do some things that she didn't get to do at her wedding. Or, there's a million different people with a million different opinions. And I would love to say, forget them all and do whatever you want. Ultimately, that is not possible in a lot of cases. Wish it were. I feel your pain. Reach out if you need help. But ultimately, what we want you to do is find a way to kind of try to keep everybody sort of generically happy, but ultimately it is your wedding and you should be able to do the things that are important to you and your partner that are reflective of the two of you as a couple and that are going to form those lasting positive memories that when you tell your grandkids about your wedding day, you're going to be like, and it was the best thing ever because we did blah, like we had sushi, or we didn't have a dance, or we had it in the backyard, or whatever it is that's your wedding. Ultimately, hopefully you can come to a compromise with the other stakeholders, both emotionally and financially. You can come to a compromise that reflects you as a couple. And that is my ultimate hope for you. Now, I have been there. I kind of had this vision when I was getting married that I was going to do it in a black sundress in my backyard. And then I immediately realized that that was not going to fly with my mom. Love you, Mom. Thank you for caring and loving me and, having the opinions. And I didn't wear a black sundress. I did wear a wedding dress. But that leads me to kind of my first point about the non-traditional is that hopefully you can find a way to incorporate some attire that is reflective of you. Maybe you do want to wear a sundress. Maybe you want to wear a pantsuit. Maybe you have some elements of different traditions, whether it's in your heritage or your partner's heritage or a culture that you're interested in or that you've been involved with, or a place you've traveled that has some kind of a cultural traditional garb for their wedding day. Hopefully you can find a way to incorporate that. And maybe sometimes that involves compromise, which of course everything does. I mean, I wish I could tell you that your wedding day was the last day you were ever going to have to compromise, but hello, marriage. It's kind of all about that. So if you can find a way to compromise on your wedding day with all of these things, then hopefully you are setting yourself up for success in compromise in future life. So maybe you want to wear something for the cocktail hour and then change into different attire for your reception, or maybe you have a ceremony dress and then a reception dress, or however you can sort of figure that out so that you can wear what you want to wear and also what people are sort of comfortable with or banking on you wearing. Maybe you change into a party dress later in the evening. Maybe there are different cultures represented, or maybe there aren't. But ultimately, try and find a way that is true to you and your partner and your cultures and your traditions and whatever it is that you'd like to honor on the day, that also sort of pays homage to what your other emotional and financial investors are okay with. The second thing is timeline. There are infinite timelines that will work for a wedding. It doesn't have to be your traditional ceremony, cocktail, dinner, dance. It can be a brunch wedding. Maybe you want to do a wedding on a weeknight. Maybe you want to have a weekday morning breakfast reception and you're done by 11 a.m. Maybe you love dancing, maybe you don't love dancing, and you want to morph your timeline around that. And so think about a number of things here when you're thinking about what works for you. First and foremost, hopefully it's what you and your partner are comfortable with, what you're interested in. Myself and my husband, we're not dancers. So we did do a first dance because we wanted those photos and it was important to us. But we did a brunch wedding and then we had our cocktail hour after. And we did a first dance, but that was it for dancing. And everybody was home by 5 o'clock and it was great. It was perfect for us. So try to find ways, talk to your venue, talk about available timing. Of course, you have to think about your guests and when they're available. If you're asking everybody to take off work on a Wednesday morning at 11 a.m., that may pose a few more problems with your guest list than otherwise. But, hopefully you can find a time to honor yourself and your partner and what you truly like, as well as what works with your budget and your aesthetic and your overall goals. Like if your thing is going out for breakfast on a Saturday morning, maybe you have a Saturday morning breakfast wedding. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You just need to be creative about the way you approach it and the way that you incorporate your guests, knowing that perhaps maybe not all of them will be as available as they would for a traditional Saturday afternoon cocktail, dinner, dance reception. The other thing that leads into that is food and drink. Ultimately, hopefully, you can find a way to serve what you actually like. Maybe if there's a specific style or cultural tradition of food that you like, maybe you can find a way to incorporate that by bringing in a food truck, or maybe talking to your venue and asking them if they would have their chef prepare particular menus or menus of a particular culture. There are tons of venues that are totally open to flexibility where the menu is concerned. Maybe you want to do a traditional menu of your grandma's food. Ask your caterer. They might be totally willing to make grandma's mac and cheese or grandma's biscuits. And those kind of nostalgic foods are those things that are going to kind of tug at the heartstrings of the guests who are family. And they're going to be appealing to the guests who know you and who, know how close you were with your grandma and appreciate that you're serving her recipes. You could also look at doing non-traditional times for meals. I mentioned brunch. You could maybe do a dessert wedding. Maybe you have a later ceremony and your reception just consists of desserts. I mean, sign me up. The more sugar, the better. If there are butter tarts, I am there. Please send me an invite, amy@unmistakably.you.com. Maybe you just want to do a cocktail reception with appetizers. Maybe you want to do marché stations, so you avoid that traditional sit-down meal. If you like the traditional sit-down meal, awesome, do it. If you want to avoid it, there are hundreds of ways that you could do that. So talk to your caterer, talk to your venue, talk to your family. Try to find venues and vendors who are accommodating to that kind of personalization. That's the kind of thing that we here at Unmistakably You love to do. I would absolutely any day of the week rather eat grandma's mac and cheese or Bubcha's pierogies than I would, some dried out chicken breast and overcooked roast beef. 100%. It's reflective of you two as a couple, and it's honoring your heritage. It's honoring your likes. Find ways to do that. When it comes to music and entertainment, you don't need to feel like you have to hire the traditional DJ or band. If you are a dance fanatic and you want that dance floor packed all night, by all means, go for it. Hire the best DJ in town, hire that band that's full of energy that's going to keep the dance floor packed. Absolutely. But what if you're not dancers? I mean, I grew up step dancing, and I can guarantee you that nobody who came to my wedding wants to dance a clog jig and reel. So, like we cut that out. But we had a jazz band that played music at our cocktail hour, and then we didn't have a dance. Maybe that's something you want to look at. Maybe you want to hire a band to do a concert. Maybe you want to hire, again, something I would love, an Elvis tribute artist to do a concert instead of a dance. And sure, people can get up and dance if they want, but maybe you want a Buddy Holly tribute. Maybe you want to have some kind of a Guns N' Roses tribute band. I mean, there are crazy amounts of entertainment options out there. Maybe you don't want music at all. Maybe you want to hire a magician to stroll through your guests as they're having their hors d'oeuvres. Maybe you want to hire a particular cultural dance group. Maybe you want to have belly dancers or some kind of I don't know, circus act or sword swallowers. There are all kinds of crazy fun things that are reflective of different personalities that don't mean that you just have to book a DJ and have your standard 9 to 1 a.m. dance. Maybe you want to get rid of music entirely and have a campfire and roast s'mores and hot dogs. If that's you, if you're the outdoorsy type, then why not do that? Your guests and your family want to celebrate you, and they want to do the things that you enjoy. So why not find a way to celebrate that? When it comes to those traditional traditions, like the cake cutting and the bouquet toss and the garter toss and not seeing each other before the ceremony, I think we've kind of gotten to a place, hopefully, where you feel the freedom to do or not do those things as you see fit. If you love cake, if you want that picture of the two of you cutting a cake, absolutely order a cake. But if that doesn't matter to you, forget the cake. Have a pie bar instead. A lot of guests would really prefer pie to cake on most days, myself being one of them. Maybe you don't feel like the traditional bouquet toss and garter toss are appropriate at your wedding. Maybe you have mostly married guests or guests who are already in relationships, and you feel like that's not appropriate or demeaning in some way. I have had I've had couples forego it entirely. I have had couples who made concessions to make it a little bit more fun. So instead of a bouquet of flowers, I've had couples who have thrown bouquets of lottery tickets and candy. Everybody loves that. I mean, the chance to win $1 bajillion in the lottery, absolutely. Sign me up. Sounds great. The garter toss, I mean, I do that at maybe 1 out of 10 weddings, which if you love that idea and it's funny and you have good memories of that growing up at weddings you attended and you want to do it, for sure, do it. Otherwise, there are ways around it where instead of, going up your skirt for the garter, the groom grabs a football from under the chair and throws it towards the crowd, or just ignore it. Nobody's ever going to say, oh, that was the worst wedding ever. There was no garter toss. Like, honestly, nobody cares. You need to do you in a way that is authentic and true to you, that feels good for you. If you feel like you don't want to see each other before the wedding and you want that moment at the end of the aisle to be the moment of the first look, amazing. If you want to maybe diffuse some of those nerves beforehand, or your schedule prohibits being able to not see each other before the end of the aisle, then do a first look. Maybe you want to get some of those photos out of the way beforehand. Maybe you have a later ceremony and you want to join cocktail hour with your guests. Absolutely, then do a first look. But if that's not your jam, if you want that magical end of the aisle moment, then do the end of the aisle moment. You just need to be creative to find ways to sort of massage your schedule so that it works to give you enough time to get the photos that you want, but also to either allow for a first look or not allow for a first look. Again, I'm rambling at this point. There are a billion things that you could do to customize your wedding that would be non-traditional and reflective of the two of you as a couple. And I just encourage you, no matter what, to make sure that you are honoring yourselves, that you probably will have to have some difficult conversations with some other people who feel like they maybe have some ownership over your wedding. They feel like they maybe get to tell you what to do and what not to do. I hope for your sake that those conversations are smooth and easy and that you're able to figure out exactly how to honor them, but still uphold yours and your fiance's wishes and your personalities, and to be able to promote those in your wedding day so that your day is truly reflective of the two of you as a couple and is not somebody else's wedding. As always, I am here to help. If you have questions or thoughts or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can comment on this video. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out. My email is amy@unmistakably.you.com, and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. I love to hear thoughts and ideas. And if you have some questions or concerns, I would be more than happy to sit down with you and chat to find solutions. Until next week, folks, happy planning, and I look forward to seeing you then. Take care. Bye-bye.